What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to model a column in Revit. Actually, I'm going to be showing you two different approaches to modeling columns in Revit. One approach is going to be a more classical approach to creating a modern column using a regular column family template, and the second approach is going to be a bit more difficult column. I'm going to try to replicate at least a little bit when it comes to kind of the whole design, the column from the Parthenon temple, and I'm going to be showing you how to model something like that using a different family template. So these are going to be two vastly different approaches to a similar topic, but they give very different results. I think it's important to cover kind of all sides when it comes to working in Revit. So that's what this tutorial is going to be all about. Before I get started with the tutorial, I would just like to ask if you like this tutorial. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to subscribe. I make useful Revit tutorials each week, and also I create some courses. Now, you can find all of my beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses on my website, balkanarchitecture.com. If you're new to Revit, I have a whole series, beginner to intermediate level. It's 16 hours long and it teaches you everything you need to know about Revit. And then also on my Patreon page, that's going to be the second link in the description. The first one is to my website, the second one is to my Patreon. There you can find all of the project files like these columns that I'm going to be creating and some of those advanced courses as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check out the links in the description. Okay, without any further ado, let's get straight into Revit.
And here we are in Revit. So the first step is of course going to be to go here to families, and because this is going to be a column family, let's go here to new. And first we're going to be creating that modern column family. Now you can build this as a regular architecture column, or you can build it as a structural column. So if you want it to be a structural column, you would go here. In this case, this looks more like an architectural column. That's why I'm going to go here to the metric column, just a regular column. Then you just want to hit open, and that's going to open up the family editor. Once you're here, the next step is of course going to be to model your column. Now what I'm going to do is go here to elevations, go to the front view just to see what we have, and as you can see, the upper reference level is at 4,000 millimeters. Now, if you remember from that image that I've shown you, this is quite a bit taller than that, so I'm just going to go here to my reference level, upper reference level, and move that to at least 8,000 millimeters, so just at least double that. And of course, so we can move these reference planes up, but of course we don't really have to, because we're not going to be using them too much. Anyways, once we have this column, the next step that I always like to do is to kind of split my column into two segments. We're going to be having the first segment, the segment that's going to change its dimensions, so basically the one that's going to kind of stretch out when we change the height of our column, and then we're going to have the fixed part of the column. Now, in some cases, when you have just a regular rectangular column, for example, or a circular column that doesn't really change along its length, in that case you don't really have to divide it into two segments. In this case we do. So in order to do something like that, you have to go here to the create tab, go to the reference plane, and then let's just create one horizontal reference plane. The offset is going to be set at something like, let's go with 2,000 millimeters, just like this. Okay, so this from here to here is going to be kind of the fixed part. We can actually turn this into a regular dimension, and we can also lock this in place. Perfect. So this is now going to fix that reference plane to the upper level. So if we move the upper level, that reference plane will change alongside it. Let's go back to 8,000. There we go. Okay, now let's actually create the fixed part first. So it has kind of that part where it kind of goes off into two sides. So what I'm going to do is go here to the create tab, go to an extrusion, and for this extrusion, let's create one line here, then move it up, just straight up, and then we can of course lock it in place here on this lower plane. Next, I'm going to choose an arc. Go somewhere like 135 degrees, and then create a shape such as this one. Let's go to the other side, select this. Next, go here to mirror with the draw axis tool, and then you can just draw it like this. And finally, use trim and extend to fix it up here. There we go. So this is going to be the fixed part of the column. You also want to lock this plane here, or this line here, and this line here. Make sure that everything is locked. Hit finish, and there we go. Now, I just want to measure this from one side to the other. Let's see. So that's 4,600 millimeters. Next, I want to move to the left elevation. So this looks, well, like that. So as we remember, it's 4,600 millimeters, the length of this thing. So we want to actually replicate that for the extrusion. So we want half to be extrusion end and then half to be extrusion start, but we also want it to start from here. So it can be kind of odd, kind of difficult to calculate the whole thing. So what I'm going to do in this case, just to kind of save myself on the confusion, let's go and add just a couple of reference planes like this. Select this one, move the temporary dimension line. So this is supposed to be half of 4,600, so that's 2,300. And then this one is just the same. There we go. And then you want to lock this on both sides. There we go. Or actually, we don't have to lock it because we're going to be deleting these. Just forget about that. Anyways, now we have to kind of carve out the same shape, but using voids. Because if I go to the 3D view, this is what we have at the moment. And we want to turn this into something a bit more useful. So let's go back to that left elevation, go to create, go to void form, void extrusion, and we're just going to be replicating the same thing, but in reverse. So let's go to the arc, grow at the 45-degree angle, and create that shape. Next, you want to just do a couple of lines like this and create something that looks like this. Also, you want to lock this here down below, and up here you want to use perhaps the align tool. Then find that reference level, and we can just align that little point there. Perfect. Okay, so once we have this aligned, we can select it, go to mirror using the pick lines option, make sure copy is selected, and then copy to the other side, hit finish. Perfect. And then when we go to the 3D view, this is what we have at the moment, so it looks silly, but if we stretch it all the way here and all the way here, this is what we have, and we have that perfect top part of the column. Now, of course, you want to test everything out before moving forward, so I'm just going to select the level here using the tab key, move it up, move it down, everything works correctly, so this was built successfully. Next, for this, the width is, what is it? Is it 600? There we go, it's 600. So we just have to go here to the lower reference level, go here to create, go to extrusion, and just use a simple rectangle, one corner to the other. You can lock it in place on all sides, hit finish. Then you want to go here to the left elevation or front elevation, doesn't really matter. And as you can see, this is quite small. So down below, you can just lock it in place like this. Upward, you want to make sure that it snaps right to that reference plane and then lock it in place. And now, of course, you want to test the level again. So here, oops, we don't have that option here. So anyways, find that level, or I can actually use this to, oops, okay, this broke. So let's try the level now. Let's go back a bit. Let me try that again. Okay, if we move straight down and straight up, yeah, it seems to be working correctly. So I'm happy with the way this turned out, and then of course we have to test it out, make sure everything works correctly. And also before that, you can assign materials if you want. So you can select this shape, hold the control key, select the column or the kind of the upright part of the column, and then here you can assign any material that you want. You can actually search for materials, or you can search here in the library and then search for something. In this case, we can just leave it like this. Now, in some cases, it's going to allow you to join these two together. In some cases, it's not. Here, it seems to be working, so I'm happy with that. And then we can just load this into the project. So let's go here to new project. And then for the project, I'm just going to be using the Balkan Architect template, the metric version. And if you're interested in both the metric or imperial version of this template, you can check out the link in the description where you can actually get this template. Let's click OK. wait for a second for Revit to start a new project. And before I do anything, I'm just going to go here to south elevation and move this level way up, because it should probably be a lot higher, just like that. And then we can go back into reference level, go to this family, make sure to save it first. So let's call this one the modern column. Hit enter, load into project, and we can actually close it off, and then we can place it like this. Go to the south elevation, and this is what we have. If we change the height, as you can see, the column will change alongside that. So that's how you can create cool looking columns such as this one, this modern column, and just make sure to kind of split it in half. Split it in the part that doesn't move, like this upper portion, and the part that can kind of stretch out, like this bottom portion of that column. And now for something completely different. So let's try to model a column that's going to be a actual classical column, or something a bit more classical. And actually I want to model the columns that are going to be similar to the columns used in the for the Parthenon in Athens. So basically what I want to do is just to replicate that shape, and I think it's an interesting shape, but it does come with certain problems. So for example, for this column, it goes from the bottom up to this point, it just goes straight up. Now that's why we can model it as an extrusion in the family editor. Now for the Parthenon column, it actually has a little bit of a curve to it, kind of like a belly or something like that, like a little hump here in the middle. So it goes kind of like this, like a little arc shape. And modeling something like that in the family editor would be extremely difficult. You would have to do some sort of an, I don't know, maybe some sort of a revolve with some really difficult voids. I'm not even sure it could be done. So I think the better option for something like that would be to model it in the massing environment. So let me show you how to approach modeling a column in the massing environment. So let's go here to File, let's go to New Family, and then we're going to go here to Conceptual Mass and just use the metric mass. And let's open that up. So here we are in the massing environment. We can go here to the south elevation. As you can see, we only have one level, but I'm going to select it and just copy it upwards, maybe at 10 meters, because this column is kind of around 10 meters high, give or take, I'm not completely sure. Anyways, let's also change the units. So I'm just going to go here to Manage and then to Project Units. You can also use the UN shortcut. And then let's change this to meters, and we can add a couple of decimal places like this. Click OK, OK again, there we go. Okay, so for this column, it has some minor components at the top that are going to be kind of the fixed part of this column. So for that, I'm going to go to Create, and then go here to Reference Plane and add a couple of reference planes here at the top, just like that. Now, next, let's select it. And here for this, let's go with 0.3 meters, like that. And for this one, 0.3 meters as well. Perfect. And then we also want to lock these up here. So for that, I'm just going to go here to the Align Dimension. DI is the shortcut. Go from the top and add these two, place it like that, and just lock those in place. Next, we want to have a middle line, the line that's going to kind of hold the profile. That's going to be that middle, the thickest part of the column. So for that, let's go here to Reference Plane, and let's add one here as well. Oops, that's kind of wrong. There we go, and we can delete this one. Now for this one, I'm just going to call it the middle one. There we go. This one is going to be the top, and this one is just going to be extra. Now, I'm just using some really weird naming convention, don't mind that. Anyways, now we have to add additional dimensions just to hold this in place. So because this isn't a column like the previous one, where it was modeled as a column family that has some infrastructure, let's call it, built in, this one has this additional level, and we do have to add some dimensions that are going to hold this and control the parameters. So let's go here to Align Dimension. go from the top to the middle to the kind of the lowest point, the lowest level, and make sure that these two are equal. This is going to center this here in space. Next, you want to go from bottom up, and then this one is going to be the actual height of the column. You want to go here to label, go to create new parameter, and then this is going to be a type parameter called column height. There we go. So we have that parameter all set up. Now it's time to model our column. So for this column, I'm going to go here to level 1. And then let's start off with a circle. Go for the center, and then half of this circle is going to be 0.7 meters. So that's the total is 1.4 meters in diameter. So this is the radius. Anyways, now for this column, it isn't really circular. It has those little kind of dents all over. It's probably really bad naming on my part. I don't know how you would call that. Ridges? Maybe something like that. So what I'm going to do is just create one line here going from the center, and it's going to go at 7 degrees. Okay, I can't get less than that. So let's go like this. Change it from 9 to 7.5, just like that. And next you want to select this, go to move, select this endpoint, and then try to find the, oops, let's unconstrain that, and find the center. Perfect. Next, you want to select it, use the mirror tool, like this, use the pick axis option, flip it to the other side, just like that, and then finally, you can use the arc tool, go from the intersection here to the intersection there, and create something that looks like this. So this is that dent, so to speak, or the ridge. So once we have one of these, unfortunately we cannot use the array for this part, or in this case the repeat tool, so let's just use the rotate tool. Go to copy, go to place center of rotation and place it in the center of the circle, and then the angle is going to be 15 degrees. 7 plus 7 gives us 15. Next, select these two, go to rotate again, copy, place center of rotation here, and then let's go with 30, so that's 15 times 2. Now I'm just going to select these two and just go and repeat the last one, so that was another 30. Because now, once I have all of this, I can just select the whole thing, go to rotate, go to copy, go to place it in the center, and now I can say 90. And we have pretty much half done. Select the whole thing again, go to rotate, go to copy, go to place center of rotation, place it in the center, and for the angle, let's go with 180, and we're done. Now we can just select the circle and get rid of it, and when we go to the 3D view, we have a beautiful bottom of the column modeled out, which, there we go. Okay, next you want to select this, and then you want to go to copy, paste, align to the same place. So basically now we have two of these overlapping, and the second one, the new one, is selected. So when you paste at the same place, you're going to keep that selection. So you just want to go here to host and change it from level 1 to the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. Okay, so here we go. Now it's in the middle, and once we're here at the middle part, what we can do now is just scale it. So we want to make it just a tad bit bigger than this one. So what we can do is go here to scale, go to numerical, go with 1.1, find the center just like this. As you can see, this intersection will highlight, and now it's a little bit bigger. Next, while it's still selected, go to copy, paste, align to the same place again, and then change the host to the top reference plane. Perfect. Again, you want to scale this one again, numerically to 0.8 of that, and then find the center again, just like that, intersection, and now we have that done. So now what you can do is just make a simple kind of window selection like this, go to create form, and we have our column in a few seconds. There we go. Looks perfect. Next, of course, we want to make sure that everything is locked in place. So what you want to do is you want to go here to the Align tool, select the reference plane here. So that's this one. You can just use this middle line to select it, and then kind of select that surface and lock it in place there. Perfect. Moving on. Let's go to the south elevation, zoom in a little bit. Now this part is going to be modeled sort of as a revolve, so you want to go just from the middle up, like this with a simple line. This is going to be kind of the axis of rotation. Next, you want to go here to the start and radius arc. You want to go to the edge, go at the 135-degree angle, and create something that looks like that. Move back to lines, go back here, then go from here to here, and from here up. Next, you want to select that, hold the Control key, select the axis line, and go to Create Form. And now if we go back into 3D, this is what we have. Now, you don't want to mess up here, so this still isn't locked in place. So in this case, I like to switch this to wireframe, go to Align, select the top one, select one half, lock it, again for the second half, lock it, again for the bottom, one half, lock it, and then for the second half and lock it again. Now we're 100% sure that this is completely locked in place. And then let's go back into hidden line, or no, let's go with shaded. Yeah, it looks much nicer. And then let's go back into the, let's see, level 1, there we go, perfect. And then let's go with a rectangle, or no, let's go with lines. And then go just like this, and like this. There we go. You want to extend this one a little bit. You want to extend this one. And then just select one of them using the tab key. So you hover over the whole thing, hit the tab key once, select one of these, and let's mirror it using the pick axis line. Like that. And then you want to select the other one, mirror that, just like this. And then you can simply use trim and extend to corner in order to fix this up. And go in the 3D view. Okay, it's down here. Okay, let's just change the host from level 1 to that is the extra. There we go. And then go to create form. Now, once you have created the form, you want to zoom out a little bit. Go to align, find the level, then go here to the top, lock it. Then you want to go to the extra, find the bottom, lock it. And finally, we have our column created. As you can see, it's kind of has that little curvature in the middle. That's exactly what we want. And because of all of this geometry that we have, all of the reference planes, it's fully parametric, which is always a nice thing to have. So now if we go here to family types, move it off to the side a little bit, we can create a new 10-meter high type. And then let's create a new one. So this one can be a 12-meter one. Click OK, change this to 12, hit apply just to flex it. Now it's going to take a while because we have a lot of geometry going on, but as you can see, it works perfectly. Now we can of course just save this, so let's call this one a not so. There we go. And we can load it into, oh, oops. Let's just add the material, because if you don't add the material, it's going to have that kind of transparent massing color, which is odd. So let's go here, and I'm just going to assign the default wall to this. There we go, looks perfect. And then load into project and close, save the changes. Okay. And we can place it just like that. And there we go, we have a really nice looking column over here. I actually really like the look. Now, one problem with this column is going to be categorized as mass, unlike this one, which is going to be columns. But if you select it and go here into Edit Family, and there's our column. If we go here to Family Category and Parameters, and here as you can see mass is assigned, but if you go here to columns, as you can see it's not going to allow that. So that is quite annoying, and that is the downside of using a massing environment for creating columns. But the upside is of course you can create really nice looking columns, such as this one that we have over here. So there you go, that's how you create columns in Revit. Those are my two approaches. Tell me in the comment section below, do you like these approaches? Do you use similar approaches? Have you noticed something that you do differently, which you think it's better, maybe to improve my workflow? Please tell me in the comment section below. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, and I'll be back in a couple of days with another Balkan Architect tutorial. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.